On today's episode, China's BYD takes aim at the US, Biden and Musk duke it out in court, and Tesla gets hacked. China's BYD is widely known as the best-selling electric vehicle manufacturer in the world, apparently beating out Tesla with one of the cheapest lineups of electric cars on the market. Now, they are moving into Mexico, and it's scaring American automakers and the American government. But are they right to be concerned? The BYD Seagull, known as the Mini Dolphin in Latin America, is sold in China for a starting price equivalent to around $10,000, which is significantly cheaper than the average EV price around the world. But what do you get in a 10K EV? Well, the design is a four-door subcompact hatchback. You have to see it next to a person to appreciate how small this car really is. The interior is nice enough with two LCD screens, some large buttons, and even a control stalk. Some would say it's a more feature-rich interior than a Tesla. You get a stunningly wimpy 38 kilowatt-hour electric motor that makes the equivalent of 75 horsepower and delivers a 0 to 60 acceleration of 11 seconds. As for range, you get some. The standard battery pack is rated to 190 miles. You can upgrade it to a 250-mile pack, but now it's not a 10K EV anymore. Still sounds pretty good though, right? Well, the BYD range estimates are based on CLTC standards, that's China Light Duty Vehicle Test Cycle, and it's different from the EPA and WLTP figures that we are already familiar with. On average, CLTC numbers tend to be about 35% higher than North American EPA range, and even EPA ratings are wishful thinking on most days. So real-world scenario in a base model Seagull, you'd be looking closer to 100 miles on a full charge. Now we're seeing how they get the price down, but things get worse. Even a very small lithium-ion battery pack can start a very large fire, and that appears to be a problem for BYD vehicles in China, even though most BYD models use iron-based LFP chemistry, which should be more stable than the common nickel-cobalt cells, and with BYD's proprietary blade battery cell marketed as an even safer and more fire-resistant packaging system, there still seem to be a lot of BYD vehicles on fire. Now, all vehicles are inherently flammable, some more so than others. We've seen plenty of issues with Hyundai and Kia gasoline engines bursting into flames. We've seen the same thing with the Chevy Bolt EV batteries. We've seen no shortage of Teslas on fire. And for the most part, most consumers don't really seem to care or just don't pay much attention to this kind of thing. So, moving on. BYD allegedly sells the most EVs in the world, outclassing Tesla without the American market. So, there's a big worry that their dominance will come to America. There are two caveats here. One is known and one is potentially more nefarious. So, BYD also makes a line of hybrid vehicles, internal combustion engines with a small battery pack and electric motor as a secondary drive, which is fine. Hybrids are kind of stupid, but people do like them. The problem is that BYD considers a hybrid car equal to a full battery electric and lumps them all in together when it reports EV sales numbers. So they do sell more cars than Tesla, but they don't sell as many actual electric cars as Tesla. There's also the possibility that a sale in China isn't actually a sale. From what I can gather, there is a potential scheme in play where BYD sell most of their new cars to used vehicle wholesalers at a discounted rate, who then turn around and resell the new cars as used cars to consumers. It's weird, but there does seem to be evidence to back that up. Anyway, if the car were to come to America, it would still be much cheaper than the national average for EV prices, even after taking into account the current 27.5% tariff rate put on Chinese-built EVs. With that said, the already high tariff rate might be increased as American government officials are doing everything they can to keep Chinese EVs out of the country. Former President Donald Trump said that if he wins the upcoming federal election in November, he will impose a 100% tariff tax on Chinese-owned EVs built in Mexico. But the car and production of it is already coming to North America. BYD is currently expanding their EV factories to a bunch of different countries around the world. One nation that they're eyeing up right now is none other than the US southern neighbor, Mexico. The car is reportedly coming to the Mexican market with a $20,000 price tag. Even with that extra $10,000 cost compared to its price in China, it's still much more affordable than the average EV in the country. But the government isn't the only one fearing the seagull. The American automotive industry is also wary of the car coming to the States. The big three, General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, have been losing their foothold in their own market to other East Asian car manufacturers like Japan's Toyota, Nissan and Honda, and South Korea's Hyundai and Kia. In 1984, the big three made up 75% of car sales in the United States. Today, they only account for 40% of the market. The war between Joe Biden and Elon Musk continues to rage on as the president urged the most powerful court in America to go against the Tesla CEO. Firstly, it's important to note that this all stems from an agreement Musk signed in 2018 with the SEC after claiming on the social platform X that he had secured the funding to take the company private. The tweet quickly went viral and picked up mainstream attention, leading to a surge in the price of Tesla stock. The SEC took notice of this and sued Musk and his company, claiming that he misled shareholders. The two sides would ultimately come to a settlement agreement with two key concessions by Tesla and its CEO. Musk and Tesla agreed to pay $20 million in the settlement, while Elon alone would vacate his chairman position at Tesla and as well, most notably, agreed to allow a lawyer to screen posts he made on X. As I'm sure you could guess, the last concession is the one Elon and the US government continue to battle over to this day. We are only a year removed from a federal court in New York rejecting Musk's claim that his settlement with the Securities and Exchange Commission violated his First Amendment rights. The claim was quickly rejected by the court, in which they said, quote, "We see no evidence to support Musk's contention that the SEC has used the consent decree to conduct bad faith harassing investigations of his protected speech." It's safe to say Elon completely disagreed with this legal view. That is why he's taken his appeal to the US Supreme Court in a last-ditch effort to overturn what he deems is an unconstitutional clause in the settlement that he believes muzzles him. This comes a few weeks after the Biden administration approved a nearly $3 billion loan to Lithium America, a company controlled by General Motors, which is a direct competitor of Tesla, to build a massive facility to mine and refine lithium for EV batteries and more. So while we await the answer from the Supreme Court, one thing is for certain: the war between Elon Musk and President Joe Biden will continue to rage on. While most companies would do anything to punish hackers, Tesla does the complete opposite, even rewarding them hundreds of thousands of dollars for breaching their system. How does that make any sense? Well, like everything in life, a little context is necessary. The breach of their system occurred at the Pwn2Own competition in Tokyo, which is an event full of hacking teams that compete against one another to help corporations find holes in their systems, with Tesla being one of the many companies to participate in the competition for the last few years. At the event, the Synactive team, a group from France, broke into Tesla's Model 3 car in under 2 minutes. As a reward for revealing this security issue, Tesla awarded the team their very own Model 3 car and $200,000. Synactive was able to hack into Tesla's charging modem and infotainment system, inserting a malware chain full of bugs into each, resulting in the team ultimately breaking through the security wall. While this may sound impressive, which it is considering Tesla already has top-notch security, it's even more impressive when considering the fact this isn't even the first time Synactive has hacked into a Tesla and has been awarded for it. In fact, this is now back-to-back years that Synactive has uncovered security vulnerabilities in Tesla's models during a Pwn2Own event. Last year, the team was able to hack into Tesla's Gateway Energy Management System, where they'd impressively show how they were able to breach the system by opening the front trunk and side doors of a Model 3 vehicle while it was in motion. Although the competition may seem odd from the outside, when you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. For a company like Tesla, who takes matters of security very seriously, having teams of hackers compete against one another to break into their systems is a brilliant way of quickly figuring out loopholes with their apparatus before a hacker with malicious intentions does instead. Consider the amount of money the company would lose if some random hacker exploited the system. It would do irreversible damage to Tesla's reputation and would cost them millions in the process. So with that perspective in mind, the reward of a couple $100,000 doesn't seem like too much. As well, this way they can control the situation by implementing immediate security updates to ensure the loophole is patched up for good. From our perspective, it may seem like a goofy waste of money, but from Tesla's perspective, it's a cost-efficient way to identify vulnerable spots in their system, which is key considering the car is connected to an internet server, making it more vulnerable than your average car. As usual, Tesla is doing things differently than their competitors, and it's working.